Wake up with the news and information you can trust. Starting your day the right way with the Andy Griffin Show. This is News Radio 890, 92.5 KDXU.
A little late getting rolling today, but we are on. I'm Andy Griffin. Thanks for tuning into the show. With me right now, Jack Lancaster.
Good morning.
Hi, Jack.
Good to be here.
Jack is back from a trip. He went to Europe, to a different part of Europe than I went to. But and then he came home and got sick.
Yeah.
Flu and then a cold, or flu and allergies?
Flu and cold, yeah.
You gonna be okay? You gonna make it?
Yeah, it's been a week now, so I'm on the mend.
Man of your advanced years can't be too careful.
Yeah, my advanced years. Exactly. Did you get plenty of rest?
Yeah, plenty of rest.
That's right. That's my excuse now. I need to go take a nap.
Jack went to the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
You were in London. You were in Edinburgh, right? Where else did you go?
Well, we started in London. We went down towards Cornwall, down to the tip of the coast down there, St. Ives, I think.
So were you with a group?
Yeah, we were on a bus coach. Okay. So there was 28 of us.
All right.
And we were in
Were they St. George people or just what?
There was 12 St. George folks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Couples. And, so we went down, we stayed in some beautiful old hotels that didn't have air conditioning. And, down there with the high humidity, it doesn't cool off at night.
I can tell you that. I had the same experience. Yeah.
And, then we went on up through Wales and stayed in Cardiff, and drove through the hill country of Wales. And it was beautiful, beautiful country. Got some amazing pictures. Cool. The people were amazing. And then we kept going up north, went to the Lake District of England, northwestern England, and beautiful, beautiful area again, Walter Wordsworth was buried there. And we continued on up to Edinburgh, spent 3 nights in Edinburgh. Went to the military tattoo, which is basically a military parade up at the castle. Edinburgh Castle.
So we're in Scotland now.
We're in Scotland. And, it was cool because they had, I didn't expect this, but they had the U.S. Navy band there and a regiment from the Marine Corps band. And they were out there participating as well as they had an Indian show from India. And then, of course, they had the bagpipes and the Scottish Highlanders, and it was amazing. Oh, and Princess Anne was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
We got some close-up pictures of
her. So
I'm
curious. Now, you get the tourist version, right? So you don't really get the inside scoop. But did you get a feeling of Scottish versus British, and do they hate Englanders? Do they not like people?
Well, the Scottish guy that was so when we got into Edinburgh the second day, we got in there late in the afternoon and we checked in our hotel and, that was the day.
Yeah.
But then the next day we got on the bus and we toured Edinburgh in the bus with the Scottish, and he kept making jokes about how Scotland was actually a part of North America. And back in the early geologic days,
Oh, right.
And then it drifted over.
Pangea,
and then unfortunately, we got this beautiful country, but unfortunately we got these neighbors we got.
Yeah.
There was all these little sideline jokes against the English.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a rivalry going on. Scotland has its own bank. And they print their own money.
Okay.
So, when you go to Scotland and you give them, British sterling or Bank of England, they give you a change in Scottish money.
Okay.
Yeah.
With my experience, so I was in Amsterdam, Netherlands. I was in Germany, France, and Switzerland. And I thought it was very fascinating. So everybody talked about the European Union, and I suppose there are a lot of countries that are part of the European Union, but Switzerland was not one of them. Netherlands, Germany, France all used the euro, but when we went to Switzerland, they used the francs, the Swiss francs, and the Swiss francs are not worth as much as $1. The euro is worth, more than $1, but the Swiss franc is worth less than $1, and so we thought we were getting good deals on things. Hey, look, a T-shirt for $7. Well, it's actually about $10.
Yeah.
Or 15. Well, it's 20. That kind of thing. So that was an interesting experience.
So let me ask you this question. So now my wife and I are trying to plan our next trip for next year.
Yeah.
You've been on an ocean cruise, and now you've been on a river cruise. If you had to do one again, which one would it be?
That's a tough one. And here's what I will say to that. They're very different.
Okay.
A river cruise is very much like being on what you did with the coach tour.
Okay.
Because you go to different locations and you get out and you're with the same people the whole time, and it's a pretty small group. And ocean cruise, as you know, if you get on one of those big giant cruise ships, they're so massive that
right.
You really, unless you brought friends with you, you're probably not making a whole lot of friends on a big old giant ocean cruise ship, just because there's so many people everywhere all the time. So I did like the intimacy of the river cruise.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
So did you cruise at night and then port all day, or did you cruise during the day a lot?
Both.
Okay.
There was one day where you come through the Rhine River Gorge. We're on the Rhine River. And they call it the Castle Day, and you cruise all morning long, but you're cruising past 31 castles in a matter of about 10 or 15 miles.
Wow!
And that part was cool. We were on the top of the boat, and the cruise director was there telling us, the story of each castle and stuff. They were just far enough apart, so you had time for a 5 or 10 minute story, on each one, and that part of it was definitely worth it. But I took an ocean cruise to Alaska, and that was amazing. Yeah. I would do that again. I don't think I'd do river cruise again, just because first of all, it's in Europe. It's a long ways away. Maybe in the U.S.
Yeah.
But I don't know your experience coming back, being on that plane for 10 hours straight.
Yeah, we had a direct flight to Las Vegas from London, which was nice.
Except,
and did you have a direct flight to Amsterdam?
Well, coming back, Amsterdam to Vegas.
Oh, okay.
That's a long time.
That is a long time, isn't it?
Oh, man. I don't know. Was yours packed? Ours was loaded.
Ours was packed, but I was in business class.
Oh, okay. So, you got to sit there with a little computer and everything.
No, but I had a little bit more room, and we got the hot towel, and it was nice. Okay. Nice. Had to pay a little bit more for that, but I think it was okay.
Well, I spit on people like you as I walked by. No, I didn't really. I would not do that. All right, let's check a couple of things in the news today. Phil Donahue passed away at the age of 88.
Okay.
Now, I was not a big Phil Donahue guy. I was busy doing some working during the day and stuff. But you said you used to watch his shows.
Yeah, I used to watch his show. He had good shows on. I think he was, for the most part, he was an honest interviewer. He was a lefty.
After that, there was a lot of sensational interview shows,
I think
kept it pretty close, right?
Geraldo did a show after him, and then, of course, Jerry Springer did the thing. Yeah. The thing about was it Geraldo or Springer where somebody got mad and threw a chair? Oh, it was Geraldo and broke his nose. Yeah, hit Geraldo in the face. But Donahue kind of started the whole daytime semi-political talk, thing.
But he was pretty left-leaning.
Oh, he was very left-leaning. He called himself a feminist, and he was very left-leaning. What's really interesting is if you want to see that, but he did interview people. He interviewed Milton Friedman at least twice, and those interviews are on YouTube. Highly recommend those of you that want to get a good insight into Milton Friedman and his plain spokenness, and it illustrates by Donahue's questions. You can hear his left-leaning ignorance coming out.
Yeah.
He was arguing against deregulating the trucking industry. And he says, well, Milton, if we deregulate the trucks, won't those trucks just be going everywhere and crash into each other and there'll be no regulation? So what are we going to do? And, of course, Milton said, no, of course not. So big government guy.
Do you remember, and I don't want to get off Phil Donahue too much, but do you remember when the state of Utah decided not you didn't have to inspect your car anymore? And there were a lot of people freaking out. Oh, there's going to be so many bad cars on the road, and it's going to be so terrible, and we're going to, people are going to be crashing into each other. Everybody's the brakes aren't going to work, and that didn't happen. Jack.
No,
didn't happen at all.
No, it was nice. It was nice when that happened, and I remember when they deregulated gasoline. I remember Senator Hatch came to my high school and made the case.
Really?
Yeah. And he said gasoline's going to go up, but then it's going to stabilize. It's going to hit market prices, and they deregulated the airline industry too.
Yeah.
They made airlines charge a certain amount from point A to point B. So they did a lot of deregulation in the early 80s. That was in early late 70s. It was actually needed.
So we're talking about deregulating and the fact that having too many rules is actually a bad thing, and yet we have a presidential candidate. Her name is Kamala Harris, who wants to tell you, the business owner, how much you can and can't charge for certain items.
Yeah.
Jack, in the history of mankind, this has been attempted many times by usually socialist or communist countries or tyrant countries. And it's never worked.
Right.
Never.
Right. That tells you how much she knows about economics.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't study history. Of course, she probably doesn't study much at all.
What are these little symbols on the page?
Well,
those are words, Kamala.
Yeah.
Words.
She looks in the mirror and just, practices her laughing. But,
cackle.
Fortunately, there's a lot of people out there saying, come on. I mean, when you got Bernie Sanders on your side, then you're out there.
Yeah. Yeah, Bernie and his mittens. So, as a business owner, what if the government tried to tell you what you could charge and couldn't charge? What would you do?
Probably sell my business.
Get out of the industry.
Well, you can't make money.
No.
Because it's like what happens. I mean, when you look at like Cuba, and I study Cuba a lot. When you look at Cuba, the reason the reason they don't have anything is because they don't have a free market. Because the government tells you how much eggs cost. Well, nobody produces eggs over there because nobody can make money producing eggs.
No.
So, and it's the same with you. If you want to buy Nikes, you can actually go into a store in Cuba and buy Nikes. But you can't go and buy eggs, milk, or cheese. Because the government controls the price on those, and so therefore nobody wants to make it.
Right.
And so now they're importing. They have to import everything.
Isn't that the same way with cars? The government controls how much the cars cost, and so they don't have new cars.
Which is why they're always running those 1955 American cars.
They have some pretty cool old classic cars.
They've gotten really ingenious about how to keep them up and running.
Yeah. So Democratic National Convention starts today. It's in Chicago. Maybe the poster child for liberalism is the city of Chicago, which is the nation's number one.
Which is where Phil Donahue was based out of.
Yeah, it's a nation's murder capital. They overtook Detroit as a per capita murder capital.
We'll see down there, famous for that too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's really interesting. The Democrats, if you watch this, I probably couldn't stomach watching the convention because everybody's going to try and out-liberal everybody else. Where are we going to give this or are we going to give that or tell their stories? And I wonder how many fact-checkers are going to be on CNN fact-checking their speakers and that because,
I have Jimmy Keston on 3 times a week in the morning talking politics, and it was, they're going to get Kamala as their candidate she actually right now has, and they say it's the honeymoon period, but right now she has she's running neck and neck in the polls with Donald Trump right now.
Yeah, wait till she debates Trump.
Yeah. I can't
wait till J.D. Vance debates the other guy.
Yeah. Walls. Yeah. His name. Yeah. I just don't. I don't understand why. We met a lady on the cruise, and she, at the end of the cruise, she was a very nice lady. She kind of funny and fun and whatever. And at the end of the cruise, my wife said, "Hey, can I friend you on Facebook so we can chat a little bit here and there?" And she goes, "Well, yeah, you're welcome to, but just be aware I'm a big Kamala Harris backer, and I like to post things all the time about Kamala Harris." And I told my wife said, "Well, that's okay. I'll friend you." And I told my wife, I said, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of half-truths and untruths that are going to be published.
And they accuse the right of doing the same thing. And the problem is Trump likes to exaggerate a lot, and so they do have some of their Trump. But the thing about Trump is he's who he is. He's not trying to be anybody else other than which sees what you get. Who does 2 hours with Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Right? And then Elon asked Kamala to do the same thing. Is that going to happen?
No. She said no thanks.
Yeah. She's afraid.
Yeah.
She won't do a press conference. She's afraid. And actually, from her point of view, why should she? She's got there's no upside for her to do it.
Yeah, true. True. And that's how Joe Biden got elected. It was he
just hung out in the basement.
Hid in the basement for 6 months, and then people voted for him.
Right.
And look what's happened in the last 3.5 years. And it's funny. I was reading about the inflation rate, and they're touting how the inflation rate is low right now, lower than it's been in a while. But if you do the math on that, the inflation rate is based on
year over year.
Yeah, year over year inflation prices. So last year when the inflation rate was over 10%, whatever, and prices went way up. I think it was more than that even. Now this year is based on those prices, the already price.
Yeah. So in order to get back, we're going to have a couple of years of deflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen?
It's possible. I've seen deflation in the past, but not while they're printing money and running government deficits like they've been doing like crazy.
Not while Joe is president. And
did you see Kamala's speech where she compared the price of everything from when they got elected to where they are today? It was amazing. She goes, well, a loaf of bread was this, and now it's this, and a dozen eggs was this, and now it's this. You need to elect me to fix this. I need to fix these. I need to put in price controls. And guess what Trump did? They put it into an ad campaign and said, yep, that's right.
She's right. Yep. She is correct. I think Apollo is getting restless out there.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's Apollo. 9:28 on KDX. I think Joe is on his way in here. We're going to take another little break for advanced windows and talk about them. And I think Joe is coming. There he is. Hi, all right, Joe is here. Hi, Joe. Joe, you and Apollo need to get things under control here, man. I was a little bit worried. He was going to eat one of our salespeople, although that wouldn't be a great loss, eating a salesperson. Jack's over here going, hey, wait a minute.
He was going to eat them.
Wake up with the news and information you can trust. This is the Andy Griffin Show on News Radio 890, 92.5 KDXU, Southern Utah's news talk leader.
Welcome back, 9:37 on KDXU. I'm Andy Griffin. Jack Lancaster is here as well. He's doing a little whistling.
Not bad.
You can whistle. Yeah, you do all right, man. You do all right. Back when I was in high school, there was a popular song, you probably remember it, called Centerfold by Jay Giles.
Oh, yeah.
And it ends with them whistling. And I could whistle pretty good at the end. Anyway, that was a long time ago. I wanted to talk a little bit, Jack, with you about the word passe is something that no longer
come and gone
is needed, is no longer necessary. And I'm going to tell you a story. So years ago, I was doing games on the air with a guy, and he kept using the word trickeration. And
trickeration?
It drove me crazy, man, because at the time it was not a word. I'm like, that's not a word. And he's like, oh, yeah, I hear it on ESPN. I said, I don't care what they say on ESPN. It's not a word. The word is trickery. And he's like, I'm going to keep you. I don't care. Trickery. So a year or two later, I was reading a Newswire story, and it said new words added to the Merriam-Webster English Dictionary, one of which was trickeration.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. I was on this dude about it not being a word, and it wasn't at the time. It was, it was a year or so away from actually becoming a word. But I had a little bit of a little bit of a humbling experience with it, because I was and I've been this way my whole life. This is the way things are. This is the way it should be. This is the way it's always been. This is the way things are. And I found out that, they may have been that way, but that doesn't mean they'll always be that way. Mm-hmm. And so there have been things in life where things about growing up, it's the way you discipline your child. And I grew up in a house, you spanked your children when they did naughty things, and it was for their own good, and they learned. And, my kids don't spank their kids anymore, or not hardly anyway. And in my mind, well, you're wrong, you're doing it wrong, but maybe my way is passe, Jack. What do you think? Should I be more progressive and learn and grow on these types of things?
Yeah, but you're a grandfather now, so it's not your job.
Oh, I don't spank anymore. That's true. That's true. But I look at my kids, and my grandkid does something wrong, and I'm like, well, that deserves a spanking. They should spank them. They don't spank them. They say things like, I'm going to take away your iPad, or I'm going to, you don't get any TV, or maybe, we even used to use the dinner thing. Well, you're not getting any dinner tonight if you. This thought just occurred to me.
Yeah. Why is it that today's parents, in general, do not spank, and in our generation we got spanked?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it changed? Is it because we don't want to teach violence to our kids? Is that was always the excuse I was always hearing?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Is today's world less or more violent than it was when we were growing up?
Well, you could argue that it is more violent.
Then
much
what?
More violent.
Then that obviously it
didn't work.
That didn't work. Yeah. So spanking doesn't add to a child's idea of violence.
That's interesting. You bring up a good point.
Well, it just hit me, just like a flashbulb.
Would you say, though, that, I mean, suburban parents don't spank, maybe not newer parents, but wouldn't you say in urban areas they still do spank their children?
It's possible, but also growing up, I had a .22 rifle, and Dad taught me how to hunt and how to be responsible with a gun and how to do that. And today, kids are being brought up on video games where shooting has no consequences.
Yeah.
And so there's that.
I had a weird rule. Tell me if this is weird.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was weird. I thought it was a good rule. My kids were allowed to play video games where you killed things, but it had to be you couldn't kill another human.
Yeah.
It had to be a monster or you know what I mean? Like I know that it sounds silly now.
No, it makes
with
good sense.
Call of Duty and all that. And
that makes sense.
But, that was my rule. My kids didn't like it, of course. Oh, Dad, I want to play Call of Duty or whatever the latest kill the other guy game is. And then Halo came along, and they all had, even if they were humans, they had these weird helmets on, and you couldn't tell they were human. And my kids were like, "We're not. It's different. This is aliens. This is it." And of course, as a dad, I'm like, I don't know, whatever. But they were still killing each other. And I don't know.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't think spanking contributes to violence in children. So, all you parents out there that are worried about it, I don't think I'd worry about it.
Rhonda on line 1 has an opinion about spanking.
Oh, okay.
Rhonda, thanks for calling in. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I have 2 points. One of them is the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bible actually calls for spanking, but not beating or abusing. Sure. But my other point is one time I had a client leaving my salon, and the cars were all really close together, and she talked to her kid a lot. Now, you stay by Mommy, and... Anyway, the kid got away from her and ran out between cars. And I thought, I think you need to spank her butt because you need to impress on her. I mean, what's going to be worse? She gets hit by a car or she gets a spanking?
I agree, 100%.
I have you, and thank you for the call, Rhonda. I have an exact story that illustrates that. When my kid, AJ, he's 32 years old now. When AJ was 1.5 or 2, we lived right on Center Street in Logan, Utah. Pretty busy road. And one time he got out of, we took him out of his car seat. I set him down, and before I could say anything, he ran right out into that street. Now, I was able to, within just a second or so, grab his arm and pull him back because there were cars coming. But I swatted his bottom. I spanked him. And my reasoning at the time was, and I know there were a couple people across the street. Oh, he's spanking this kid. What a bag, whatever. My reasoning was, I would rather have my kid mad at me and maybe the neighbors judge me for spanking my child than have my child hit by a car.
Yeah.
And I guarantee, and AJ never ran out in traffic again after that.
Yeah.
Not the rest of his life, because in his mind, maybe he couldn't understand at 1.5 or 2 that I might get hit by a car and die. But he did understand that if I do that, run out into the road, I'm going to get a spanking.
Yeah.
He understood it.
Yeah. Well, you had to get his attention.
Mm-hmm.
There are boundaries in life.
Yeah.
That's a good life lesson.
Absolutely.
So.
And I don't, did I save my kid's life? I don't know. Maybe, I hope he learned that particular lesson.
Yeah.
And at 2 years old or whatever he was, I don't think he had the processing capacity in his young brain to go, I run into this road, I die. But he did have the capacity to know, I run into this road, I get my bottom spanked and it's going to hurt, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I spanked my girls a little bit.
Yeah. It's harder with girls too. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, they were, I had one that was really, she tried my patience.
Put you through the ringer, did she?
Oh man.
So we had an interesting family. We had 3 sons, and then we had like a 5-year gap, and then we had 2 daughters.
Oh.
And so my oldest son got the most spankings. My other 2 sons saw what he did and didn't do. They learn. They're like, yeah, we let him get the spanking, so we knew what not to do.
Yeah.
And then my daughters came along, and I was older. I was mellower, and they were pretty good kids, and I didn't have to. I don't know that I ever spanked. I probably when they were little, the same kind of traffic situation, whatever. But by the time they were probably 8 or 9, I never spanked them again.
Yeah.
So
I got the belt.
Did you?
2 or 3 times that I remember.
Me too. Hot wheel tracks were big, and my mom would put 3 or 4 of those things together.
They made a big loud whack when they hit, right?
Well, the whistling before the whack was worse because they didn't really hurt that much, but the sound, oh man, yeah, Hot wheel tracks, yeah. And then the other one was wait till your father gets home.
Oh, that was the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll take a quick break. Back with more after this. Thanks again, Rhonda, for the call.
All the latest news, weather, traffic, and sports, just like you like them. You're waking up with the Andy Griffin Show on News Radio 890, 92.5 KDXU, Southern Utah's news talk leader.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Andy. Jack Lancaster is here as well. And Jack, today is National Potato Day. I'm not even kidding about this. Check this out.
We eat about 30 pounds of spuds per person per year. No surprise, French fries are the most popular way to eat them, but baked potatoes are good too. The Idaho Potato Museum says spuds are 99.9% fat-free. They're loaded with vitamin B6 and fiber and have about 100 calories apiece. Until you add the butter, sour cream, bacon bits, and cheese. That takes away from the health advantage, but it might be worth it. I'm Bree Tennis.
Oh, it's totally worth it.
You know what's good?
Yeah.
I used to do this. I don't do this anymore, but I'm getting back on a diet so I can lose this belly.
Yeah.
But you can take and bake potatoes and bake them and then put them in the fridge.
Right.
And then when you need a snack, just go over and take the foil off and eat it with the skin and everything. They're really good that way.
Really?
Just plain.
No salt?
You could add a little salt. They're actually kind of sweet that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You will not catch me eating a baked potato out of the fridge.
It's not bad.
Jack will do it.
You should try it, man.
I'm not going to do it. I went on a road trip. The previous operator of this show, Mike McGarry, grew up in rural Idaho on a potato farm.
Oh, okay.
Spent his youth moving pipe. The moving pipe. That's it. When you say moving pipe to a potato guy, they know exactly what you're talking about. He was driving a truck when he was 8 years old. Moving pipe, whatever. We went up one time. Dixie College was playing up there, and I forget who they were playing. They were playing another junior college up in Idaho, and might have been College of Southern Idaho, CSI. And we stopped on our way at a potato field, and there were a bunch of potatoes lying around and everything. And Mike grabs a potato, and I kid you not, grabs a potato, rubs it like you do an apple on your shirt, and just kind of rubs it off. Takes the potato and, raw as it was, took a big old giant bite out of the potato.
Okay.
And I said...
That's what you do when you're a potato farmer.
What are you doing? And he said, I'm just eating a potato. I said, you're eating the potato raw. It's hard and crunchy like an apple. He goes, oh, yeah, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that dude has got problems. I could not. No.
Well, you grew up on a potato farm. It's hot. You're moving pipe.
Yeah.
And you need a snack.
Hungry. Yeah.
There you go.
Eat a potato.
That's right.
I guess raw.
Why not?
I wouldn't do it. Would you eat a raw potato?
I would on a dare.
Here's a little hint. If someone dares you to drink a whole gallon of milk,
No,
don't do it because the milk will spoil in your stomach.
Yeah.
If you drink a whole
you'll
gallon.
puke.
Yes, you will.
No, I wouldn't do that.
So, by the way, Tom W. was our winner of our 2 Wendy's meals. Trying to give something away every day here on the show. Just get people
good for Tom
fired up for some prizes. I have some Wendy's lunches and Wendy's breakfast. I have some binges. I have some theater tickets to go see plays and stuff. So
all right. So it pays to listen.
Yes.
To Andy in the morning.
I missed the days when Jack was an accountant rep here and would give me stuff to give away on the air. Those were the days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I miss them too sometimes.
No, you don't.
Sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Again, today Democratic National Convention is going on in Chicago, Illinois, and reportedly actually is going on right now. And even as we speak, Joe Biden may actually be saying, yes, I hand over the baton, as it were, to Ms.
So why did he quit the race?
Because he's senile?
No, why did he quit?
Because he can't do it.
Why did he say he quit?
Well, he said he quit because it was weird. He said, I think it was Friday or Thursday, he said, I quit because it was too close of a race.
So if it's too close with Kamala, is she going to quit?
Well, I don't know.
I'm just wondering, if you're a Democrat, and I ask this question sincerely, next cycle, if your guy is behind in the polls, are you going to quit? Is he going to quit even though he's the nominee?
I don't know.
Or she's the nominee? Whatever. Is that the rule now? It doesn't matter what the delegates voted for or what the voters voted for in your party?
They'll get a participation trophy. They like those.
I just think it's so funny. They accuse Republicans and Trump of blowing up democracy, and I hate that word the way they use it.
Yeah.
And then they go out and do the exact same thing.
They do.
Look, why didn't Joe say that? I don't know. He could have said anything, but it's too close.
That's what he said.
He should have said his physical. He's not up for the job.
He should have said, well, my elevator don't go all the way to the top no more.
Well, and then the question becomes, how can you be fit to serve as president for the next 6 months?
Yeah. Or the last 3.5 years.
Or whatever it is.
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right about that.
But that's the problem. So now that's the standard. If your guy's too close, so you just blow him up, blow him out of the race, and put the next guy in.
Great. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
One other story I wanted to mention before we go today, we only have a few minutes left. Harry Reid International Airport has been found to be the slowest airport for flight, or the worst airport for flight delays in the world.
I don't agree.
And by 15 minutes or so.
I don't agree.
You don't agree? What do you mean you don't agree?
Because we flew out of London Gatwick.
It was pretty bad.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So you walk into the airport. Okay. We did this tour, and I don't know if you did this too, but every time you left a castle or left something, you had to exit through the gift shop.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
It got to be really a joke, right?
Yeah.
We get to London Gatwick, right? We get unloaded. We're going in. We go into a gift shop. They literally did an S-curve path to get to the ticketing through a gift shop. You're not a straight line. You had to zigzag, okay? Then you get to the ticketing, and they don't have ticket agents. No. They had kiosks, and you had to go print your own ticket, and then once you printed your boarding pass, you had to go over to this other lady, show her your boarding pass.
This is the airport.
This is the airport.
Yeah.
Then we had to go over to this other kiosk and bag our and tag our own luggage and put it on our conveyor belt ourselves. Well, of course, my wife overpacked by about 15 pounds, but they expressed it in kilograms, so I had no idea how heavy it was.
That's only like 5 kilograms.
So you're in okay, and then every other machine's not working. Okay, so they got a guy there popping these things out and fixing them in real time. We were there an hour trying to get our bags on the thing.
Wow.
Okay, because we had to go up. The bag was too heavy. We had to pull it off, go back, repack, do the thing. Finally, we got it through. Then they don't tell you what gate your plane's leaving from until an hour before your boarding time.
We had that experience as well, yeah.
Okay? But McCarran will tell you. And I've seen that.
That's true.
Because when they print your gate, usually you got the gate, so you're there.
It's Harry Reid now, by the way, not McCarran.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But then, so my wife reads this thing and she says, okay, it's gate 31. Okay, so we run all the way down to gate 31. We get down there, that's a flight to Rome. Well, that's not right.
That's not it, yeah.
So then we're coming back. So I asked the ticket agent, where's the flight to Las Vegas? Oh, you'll have to look at one of the TV screens. We go back, and there's nothing on the TV screens. And we happen to be in front of this other gate. And the thing is the lounge is after you show the boarding pass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just to get in the lounge.
Just to get in the lounge so you can sit down. So we're standing there, kind of in the hallway. And while we're standing there for 15 minutes, trying to figure out, we're in front of a screen, trying to figure out which gate to get to. Because our flight board's at 11, and here it is 10:45 a.m., right?
Oh, man.
And we don't even know where we're going. And people are just running past us, trying to catch a flight. Because they didn't know, because then by the time they show what time it's boarding, you got however much time to get to the thing. You've already gone through the gift shop. You've been self-bagging. and you don't know what the hell you're doing, right? Because who's done that before, right? Yeah. You can't tell me that Harry reads slower than Gatwick. Third world problems, right? First world problems.
First world. Thanks for listening, everybody. He's Jack. We'll have him on 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
Serenity now.
Serenity now.
Washington County Commissioner on tomorrow. We'll talk to you then.